and I work here at the Champaign Public Library, and I want to welcome you to this evening's webinar. This is Crafty Adults, Cookies and Canvases. So every year we host a Cookies and Canvases, which is our version of like a paint and sip party, except for you have cookies, and we're going to do some painting today. Crafty Adults, if you haven't attended before, is a series that we host here at the library. We host different artists, sometimes myself, and we teach you a different creative project that can usually be completed within about an hour, sometimes a little longer, like today's. We've got 2 hours allotted for this craft. So I'm excited. I'm excited for you all to get painting today. Some other Crafty Adults classes that we've had are, we've done macrame, we've done candle making, we've done collage. One time we even taught people how to make their own kombucha. So we like to get outside of the box and kind of expand what that creative project is. So we're always looking for suggestions, and you can always feel free to let us know if you have a suggestion for a Crafty Adults in the future. Tonight, we're going to be painting with acrylic paint, and we are hosting a local artist, Kinsey Fitzgerald, and she's here with us at the library now. And she's going to teach us how to create an enchanting lunar painting. So we're very excited to have Kinsey. She is a local artist here living in Urbana, and I'm excited for you to meet her, and I think you're all going to have a lot of fun in this class. Tonight, we're going to be practicing mixing paint. We're going to be practicing blending the paint, and we're also going to learn how to paint the faces of the moon. So I think we're going to have a lot covered in this class today. So I don't want to spend too much more time doing an introduction, but I want to talk to you all about how the webinar is going to be facilitated. So here at Crafty Adults, we will be using the chat feature primarily. If you have comments, questions, or just anything you want to add. We miss the social aspect of this class being in person. So we encourage you to chat with us and share your thoughts as you're painting. It's a really important piece of this whole series. So you also have the option to raise your hand, and if you'd like to do that, we will unmute you, and you can feel free to ask your question aloud to the group. We're fine with either option, whichever one suits you is fine with us. But we really do encourage you to be social. That is a big piece of this class. And then finally, at the end of the webinar, we'll carve out a little bit of time to allow people to share their paintings with the class. So for that, what we'll do, we'll kind of alert you to when that time is coming, but we'll ask for anyone who wants to share their painting to raise their hand, and we will try to get to as many people as possible. You'll be able to turn your camera on and show everyone what you have painted tonight. So very excited that we're able to offer this class today. I want to encourage you all to ask questions, talk to us through the chat, and we're going to go ahead and get started with our webinar. I'm going to pass the mic, so to speak, over to Kinsey, and she's going to get us started, and we're going to talk about the supplies that you all have in your kits or supplies that you have gathered from home if you did not get a kit from the library. So Kinsey, I'm going to get your viewpoint here, spotlit for everybody, and you'll go ahead and take it away.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Laura, and thank you so much, Trisha, for being on the chat. Hi, everybody. My name is Kinsey, and we're going to be painting some wonderful moons phases, and we have some good options of colors even. Feel free to be creative and do in whatever color you would like, and I'm happy to answer questions. Let's jump in. I'm so happy and excited, so I'm ready to like get right back into it. So let's check out our supplies kit, our cute supplies kit. It's like a little carry out for a delivery of cookies or food or something.
We had all these back in our workroom, and a lot of people would walk by and be like, why do you have all these mini pizzas? So
It's exactly what it looks like. I
Yeah.
love it. It's such a nice like spin on things. Okay, so let's switch over cameras and slight pause. Here we are in our kit. So we have our amazing little tiny pizza box that you got, and we can open it up, and we have some supplies in here. We have our 9 by 12-inch canvas. We have some yellow acrylic paint, blue acrylic paint, red acrylic paint, and we also have black and white. We won't be using all of it, so feel free to save your paint and use it for later. We have our round brush, which I might call the small brush, but it is considered a round. It has like a rounded tip to it. And then we have our awesome flat brush. Getting used to the camera and its reflection. So if I do anything opposite, I'm just gonna get used to it. So this is our flat brush, and I might call this the bigger brush. Here we have. And then we have the last couple supplies. I hope that you can either have sorted out, or you can find some painting clothes or an apron. That will be extremely helpful because this acrylic paint is non-washable. So then we have our paper towels. I would recommend grabbing some because then you can easily dab your brushes when we're going to be cleaning it in between. And then we have 1 sturdy cup of water, and that'll be useful to keep our brushes damp as well as cleaning them in between, since we have 2 brushes. And then we have can get a disposable plate. It'll be our palette. And last but certainly not least, a tablecloth or covering. Newspaper works great, or one of those plasticky tablecloths. And I think
You can
that
even,
covers.
yeah, you can even unfold your cardboard box if you want to use that to kind
Oh
of act as
yeah,
your table covering.
yeah, I love that idea. That's great. Super innovative. So that,
Wonderful. So, hey, I'm going to pause just for a second.
yes.
Kinsey, I just, this is like a technical thing. We can switch your video settings so it's not mirroring your screen for you.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, I can come over to your station and do it for you if you want.
I don't, it might not be mirroring because this is my right hand and this is
Okay.
my left hand. I think I was just confused with for the webcam,
Okay.
not the dot cam for pointing to the
Okay.
moon phases.
Okay,
Thank you
got
so
it,
much.
got it. I just wanted to make sure because mine was earlier too, and I had to change it. So, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
thank you so much.
Yeah, sorry for the technical interruption, everybody.
No worries. So let's get our canvas out here, and I'm gonna put my awesome kit box on the side, and I'm gonna get my canvas out, and let's jump right in, everybody. What I would love to start off with is, let's look at our paintings. So we have, let's look at it up close. I'm going to bring it in. So this is one of the original ones. And you see here that it's made up of, you know, 2 major components that we're going to look at. It has a background, and it has this ombre effect, or blending from tone to tint, which is a solid color fading into a white. A tint is a color that you add white to. A tone you add black to. So we might actually use a tone of white for the moon, which is gray. But so we're going to start off with a solid stripe. And what I want to tell you guys is you can do vertical, up and down, or like Laura's lovely example, you can do horizontal. So you can see this nice red-violet line behind the moon phases, or you can have it to where the stripe is vertical behind the center, up and down, not right ways. So I would encourage you to decide which way you want to do that now. The difference is if the difference is just how you're going to use your paintbrush and make strokes. So it's either going to be up and down or side to side, or you can even rotate so that you're working on it whichever way you want. So you can even go diagonal if you would like, but these are the two that I will really
recommend,
elaborate on, and recommend. So so we have our two major components. We have our background, which I'm going to go through first, and then we're going to take our second half and we're going to work on these moons, and we have a couple tips and tricks to make these circle shapes, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And then we have our third part, which is these cute little snowflakes. So let's get started. I want you to think about what color now. So what way we're going to go, and then what color. So if you have any questions, you can send Trisha, and I can see the chat too about colors, about if you have an interest in a color you want to mix. I'm happy to help with that.
So we're going to also do something a little bit different this evening than we have in some of our other classes. I'm going to paint alongside with Kinsey. So I'm going to turn my camera on. So I'd love, does anyone want to suggest a color for both Kinsey and I to paint this evening?
That's a great idea. Oh, and by the way, while we're waiting on suggestions, an interesting tidbit is that these are the primary colors, and you can make any color in the world with these three.
Blue and black is suggestion so far.
Blue and black, that's awesome. Okay, so blue like the original one, and then black might be very interesting. Black will fade into gray. We have purple. So we can make any color. We can make pink, we can make green. So these are the keys of color, the keys of color. You can make anything. These are the original. No colors can mix together to make these, but these can mix together to make any color. And we also have the neutral colors, black and white. So we are able to pretty much create anything. So, oh, pink. I'm kind of leaning towards pink.
We do have 2 votes for pink. I don't know if that could be a winner, but
I think pink's a winner. I think I'm going to actually take the suggestion of, I know we've just got 2 purples, but we have a purple example. Kinsey, you can throw in here if you want.
Yeah.
I might try to do something a little different and kind of mix purple and black.
Ooh, okay.
So do like a kind of a dark purple. We'll see. It'll be kind of an experiment. I haven't done that in a while, so
that could be really interesting. I like that idea.
But we're gonna see.
I'll do pink, pink is a really fun color because you can do corally pinks, you can do baby pink. I'm gonna shoot for like a hot pink. So, and that sounds like a really fancy. I like this. So fun and fancy, black with purple. I love that.
We'll see if I can execute it. Y'all will have to be the art critics here.
Cool. Well, I'm going to start by getting my palette, and then let's start mixing. Remember to save a little bit of white for the end for our snowflake dots. And we're going to also have to use a little bit of white for our moon gray color. So that's just something to keep in mind. So we're going to start. Let's get all started. We're going to use our brush. I would recommend the flat brush, which is the bigger one. And you can use this as a palette knife in a way. You can use it to scoop. I recommend starting with the lighter color And since I'm making the color pink, I will be starting off with white. If you are if you're just using blue, you don't have to start with white, because it is going to have that fade that will fade into white eventually. But pink is pink is technically red. Actually, I remember when I taught preschool, I would tell my kids that and they would be like, "What? My favorite color's red, so I like pink too." So, because it's a tint, it's just adding a white color to it. So I have a little bit of actually I got a good amount of white. I'm gonna make sure it gets all off my brush because I don't like to waste paint, and I love using lots of paint too. You have freedom to do whatever you wish with your paint, but it is kind of fun to get like a really good amount, and it adds nice texture. So I have my brush. It has a little white on it right now. If you want, you can kind of like put it on the edge of your, so you don't waste any, or this is a technique that we're gonna use all throughout the class. Since we have 2 brushes, I'm going to take this brush and I'm going to dip it in my water and I'm going to scrub the bottom of the cup. And this is a really good way of keeping your brush free of paint, and it cleans it right up. And then in the end, it's also useful. You can add a little soap and you can keep your brushes for a long time.
So what we're doing right now is making
Yes.
a color for the background. That's going to be our main
Thank
background
you.
color.
Yes, this is our main background. Yes, sorry. So I'm
No,
mixing to
you're
make
fine.
the main background color, the solid stripe in the middle, whether that be horizontal or vertical. So we're gonna have, I'll just show you a reminder again. What I'm doing is I'm mixing pink where this dark blue might be, if that makes sense. So you can pick the color for your background.
And you all have copies on, if you have the kit from the library, on the supply list. If you flip it over, there are 4 examples of the different paintings that we made for this class. So you can also use that if you want to refer back to what the final image is going to be.
Yes, and I do encourage you to do any color you want. And if you have questions on mixing a color other than pink or purplish black, please feel free to ask. I love that, purplish black.
Purplish black.
Please feel free to ask, and I can give my insight on that too.
Yes.
So I have my white, and I'm going to start by adding red. And I'm just going to start with a little for now, and I'm going to mix it up.
And we'd love to also hear what colors you've chosen. So
yeah,
feel free to add in the chat anytime what color you're deciding to do for your painting, because we want to hear.
I'm gonna get my brush clean so this red stays. Sometimes I don't get so particular and you might find me dipping, but for now I'm starting off. So actually a way that I can do that is I can put it to the side of it and I can kind of bring it into it like this. Oh, it's so cool that you guys can see my process. So I'm getting a nice pink color, and yeah, I'm mixing it. It's a nice, I feel like this is like a lipstick pink.
Love it already.
Okay, and if you're mixing pink, I'm gonna teach you a little tip. A way to get like a really nice pink is to add a little bit of blue, but like it's a tiny amount, like teeny tiny like that, because it kind of adds that purple feel. I might have added too much actually. Take that away. So there we go. And it adds that little like magenta color, like because you know magenta is almost like purple.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's another thing. So if you are mixing colors, I'll tell you real quick. The basics are yellow, blue, and red are the primary colors. Yellow and blue make green. Blue and red make purple. Yellow and red make orange. And these are orange, purple, and green are the secondary colors. And then like what I'm doing is I'm doing a tint. But we won't get too much into that because color is very, very complex and you can really get to mix in a lot, but please have fun.
And you have a lot of paint. Like I know these are tiny cups, but you are not going to use all this paint. So if you make a color and you're not happy with it and you want to restart, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So actually I am going to use all that blue. It intimidated me, but it's making a nice pink color.
Yeah, it looks great.
Thank you. How's yours? How's purple? Ooh, purpley black is looking good.
Purpley black is mostly just purple, and we're gonna experiment adding some of the black into it. I fear getting too much black at first and having too dark of a color. Yeah.
I do have a question about, will we end up using all the paint? Should we be careful about amounts that we are using? I know you said to save some of the white. And then, oh, you guys already answered the question, so never mind.
We were connected. I knew you were going to ask it before you did.
That's funny. Perfect. Yeah, you can feel free to use as much paint as you'd like and save it for another project or use it too. Like I love using paint, but for the specific project, yes, the white needs to be saved and a little black does too.
And something that Kinsey I think we'll go over, but you also you have a lot of paint, so you want to use a generous amount to do this background part too. So like even just looking at the amount of paint that I just used, I'm going to be brave and tip this over a little. I didn't use that much and I've already got a lot of color going here. So
yes. Yeah, it's actually a surprising amount of paint in these little cups.
Yeah, it's about an ounce, which doesn't sound that much, but
yeah, wow,
it's good.
It's great. Another trick that you can do is while you're in between using brushes, if you've dipped it, so I dipped this a little bit in blue, I'm just going to leave that in my water because acrylic, when it's exposed to air, that's when it gets dry. So that's a way to maintain your paintbrushes, is to just keep it in the water. How's everybody doing? May I start putting it on the canvas, or do we have any questions?
So the amount of paint that we both have mixed right now is going to be enough to kind of get the whether you're going to do a vertical stripe or a horizontal stripe, it's going to be kind of just enough to get that stripe going.
Yeah, and we can always mix more, and you'll see here we're going to use white on the edges. So I'll probably dip directly into the white cup and probably the same amount of this times 2 with white on either this, but we'll get to that very soon. I'm going to start showing you guys this so you have an idea of how much to paint. So I have this cute pink here, and I'm going to start, and I'm going to do a vertical one, okay, like the original blue one. And I'm just going to go and I'm going to find the middle, and I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to start painting the middle with my pink color. And you can make it as thick or thin as you want. And a little trick that I learned and that I love and live by, I like to paint the edges too, because then you don't have to wait to hang this up until you get a frame. So I like to paint the edges. Then you can mount this on your wall super easily with like a simple tack or a nail. And you don't have to wait to get it matted and framed. Or you don't have to ever get it matted and framed. Like I said, I love using a lot of paint, so
A
I used to have,
general thing I would say to kind of judge whether you're using enough paint, and this is just my experience, is if you hear that kind of rough canvas sound as you're running your brush along it, you probably need a little bit more paint for this particular project. If it's nice and smooth, you have enough on your brush.
that's a good tip, Laura. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
And it's already begun. I'm such a messy painter. I've already got paint all over my hands somehow.
Well, I'm already regretting not wearing an apron because I just flicked some on my sweater. So I would totally
Yep.
recommend people use your big t-shirts, use your sweater or your aprons.
Life of an artist.
Because acrylic paint does not wash out very easily.
Yeah, and that'll be our little PSA right at the beginning. If you do get paint on something and you want to make sure you can get it out, try to wash it immediately. Dawn dish soap works pretty well if you can catch it quick enough. Otherwise, you might just have a paint splotch on your shirt.
Yeah, I'm glad I chose pink. It's gonna go with my sweater color. So I'm happy with my right now I'm happy with my pink stripe, and I'm gonna get into the white part. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my white and I'm actually gonna put it on to I'm gonna use my small brush and I'm gonna put it on the edges. I might switch over to my big brush, but it has so much pink on it right now. I don't want to. Actually, yeah, I'm going to switch over to that. I'm going to take some white and put it on my plate over here. And then I'm going to take my pink and I'm going to take a little bit of that white and I'm going to mix it up. So we have like a little middle color, and that could be anything, whatever color you do, you can mix it a little bit with white and have the middle color. And then I'm just going to go in and I'm going to go right into the stripe, but I'm not going to mix all the way to the center. You want to leave that solid color at least in the center. So, but I am going into it, that dark pink, with my brush.
Making Kinsey's screen the full screen right now so you all can kind of see how she's blending up close.
Yeah. And I hear that sound and it reminds me that I want a little bit more paint on my brush. It's a really good idea. And before this dries, so that's another thing, is that we can take our time and meditate. That's one thing I love about painting, is it's like very, very soothing, but also keep in mind that this blending process has everything to do with time. So the paint needs to be wet. I'm just taking off a little bit of the paint on the brush so I can clean it in my water, because I'm going to dip into my white. So we have our solid color in the center. We are mixing the middle colors. And now I'm going to get into the white.
So you would basically say, Kinsey, here, we're making like a light color, a medium color, and a dark color, right? So we started with the dark color.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I'm cleaning my brush, getting ready to go into the white. And I started with the dark color because that just helps me see where the center is. Oh, another thing, after you clean your brush, you can use your paper towel and you can just dry off your brush. And if there's any excess color, that's really useful. So then you don't get a lot of water on your painting, because water kind of picks up acrylic for some reason. So I'm going to go on the edges with my white, and I'm going to first do the total edge with straight white. And don't worry if it gets a little pink. I mean, if you looked at my blue and then our examples, because Laura did some examples too of our blending, you can see that sometimes it's not always clear. Like the blending isn't like perfect. There's darker colors where the light colors are, and yeah. So anyway, I'm going in with my white, and now that I've gone in with my white on the edges, I'm going to leave that be, and I'm going to start working into the middle color with my light color to create that beautiful blend.
You can kind of choose how, how large of a block each kind of like stripe is. It doesn't have to be exactly like how Kinsey and I are doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You can have just a little bit of white, or you could have a lot more white.
Yes. And like I said, yeah, like Laura said, and like I said, this is your painting. Well, I don't know if I have said this very clearly. This is your painting.
You're saying it now.
And you can I'm just giving you little guidelines to help. And however you want to be creative with it, I'm happy to answer questions on how to make this uniquely your moon phases. So I'm dipping in, and I'm blending the middle with the light, and see how sometimes the light really jumps out over here, and that's okay. Sometimes I'll accidentally get a pink, like a light pink, and where my white, these are not firm lines. It's more like blending. They're not stripes. It's blending. So I'm just working on my edges as well. Dipping into more paint. How's this looking? How's everybody doing out there?
If you're like me, you cannot type in the chat because your hands have paint all over them. So
I was going to say it's very quiet right now in the chat. I think everyone is very involved in their painting. I'm wondering if we have anyone that plans to give this as a gift perhaps later on.
Ooh, what a great question.
it is. I wonder if I'll give this as a gift now.
Yeah, now that you mention it.
I've made a few now, so
yeah.
Kinsey and I we've got a lot of moon phases.
Yeah. So yeah, we have almost a set. Well, no, we have very much a set.
I think we're gonna have 6 by the time we're done.
We're gonna have two groups. I can't think of the word right now.
Oh, two
triptychs. Yeah, there we are. I'm gonna go back into the darker, my solid color, and I'm just gonna go in the middle again and kind of just go through and work my way out again.
So we have someone said they gave their cookie as a gift to someone.
Oh, that's sweet. What a lucky friend.
I was going to say that's very kind. I don't share dessert or cookies. My staff knows that I have a real fondness for dessert. So it's not something I share, but I appreciate your kindness to someone.
I appreciate
last year when they did the pine
kindness.
tree, they did an extra one to give it away. Oh, that's a great idea too, Carolyn. So yeah, so you can always recreate this now that you have some of the tools and the skills to do so. You can do another one and continue even maybe teaching others in your family. You could do a little class of your own. Or,
yeah, that's fun.
You know, follow along with the video that'll be posted at some point once we get that up on YouTube. So
yeah, I don't think we mentioned that. We are recording this and you all will have access to it after the fact.
I did post it in the chat. We have someone that hadn't planned to be 2 hours, so they may need to pop out. And so I let them know that that would be available.
Wonderful. You're on top of it, Trisha.
Well, some days better than others. And, you know, here we are.
Yeah, and I don't think I mentioned that Trisha was here with us today. We do have I mentioned we had a third staff member, and it is Trisha Duzan. She's here kind of moderating for us while Kinsey and I paint. So that's the other voice you're hearing.
Shout out to Trisha.
Thank you. I don't have my camera on because it's very bright where I'm at, and it's not the best.
Just a little much.
A little much. So
That's okay.
All right. I'm getting risky and adding my black in now.
Oh,
I know. I'm
there
scared.
it's happening. So that's a tone. It's looking good.
It's strange too. It looks quite a bit different, I will say, in person than on this recording, but that's just how it is when you're doing a virtual thing, I guess.
Yeah, mine is too, actually.
I did mention too that, you know, there's everyone has the option to change their viewing settings so they can we'll, you know, feature and highlight Kinsey, and then you can also look at it in like gallery view or speaker view. So you can change that up if you're finding it a viewing experience better for you.
Yes, I have it kind of set up to just follow how I'm viewing it now. So if anyone wants us to highlight one, like the pink one or the purple one, let us know. We're happy to let you see a little closer.
Cool. And at the end, we are going to have a moment where we're going to get to show off our painting. So we all get to see what we each other did.
I'm excited for that. That's like my favorite part.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the colors. And I'm just going back in and really enunciating this middle color. On screen, you can't really see it, but here it's kind of like a Pepto-Bismol-y color, which is cute. I like it, but I feel like my stripe in the middle is growing. So I'm just dipping directly. I told you I might start dipping directly into paint, and here I am. So
it's funny. You feel like yours is growing, and I feel like mine's kind of shrinking. So I'm trying to amp it up again.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Opposite problems here.
Yeah. See? That's exactly why we have two instructors right now. You could have a problem of your center stripe shrinking, or you could have a problem with your center stripe growing.
You just never know.
So, and if you have any other problems, I'm sure we can help navigate through that too.
Yes.
I'm kind of content with mine. I'm going to give you guys a little bit more time to work on yours. Like I said, if you have any more questions, just let me know. I'll probably just keep brushing because it, you know, the blend is where it's at.
It's so relaxing, honestly.
Yeah.
When I did mention this too, but you can raise your hand, and you can, if you'd prefer that I unmute you, I'm happy to do that. You may have to bear with my technology of finding that option, but happy to do so. We do have a comment from Jennifer saying they both look great. They are so different. They do look really nice.
Yeah.
That's I say it like all the time. If anyone attends these classes regularly, they're probably sick of it, but it is the part that we miss. I love seeing what everyone creates, because that's the thing about art. You can all follow the same instructions and make something totally different.
Yeah, it's really incredible how that works.
This is the part that I'll stop talking so people can relax, but this is the part where I just like could zone in and do this for hours.
Same. We'll work on blending for like 5 more minutes, and then we'll move on to the next part.
Thank you, Jennifer, for sharing that too. They are saying the two different looks. So doing the vertical, the horizontal, and the different colors, I think, you know, that does really help for the interpretation too, I think.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad.
We have to be creative with the virtual world, right? I mean, we
really do.
It's such a different experience, and we are looking forward to, you know, getting back to more in-person programming starting in 2022.
Yes.
So that's exciting.
Yes, I was gonna kind of announce that towards the end, but this
Oh,
program.
sorry.
No, it's not because I was waiting.
Stealing your thunder.
I was going to mention what the next class is, and it will be if all goes as planned, which we all know what plans do anymore. But yeah, if all goes as planned, we'll be having our next Crafty Adults class in person, and it's going to be great.
Wow, that is so exciting.
Yeah, I've loved this. I really have enjoyed learning a lot about doing a virtual craft class. But I'm excited to be able to see people's faces again.
Yeah, it's fun to join as a community. And
yeah.
When Jennifer makes a great point, I think she was the one that mentioned that she hadn't expected maybe 2 hours. So she's not doing hers tonight, but she's going to soak in all the tips and then do it later. And we've recommended that too in other classes as well. If you're feeling like, we never want anyone to feel stressed or about any of these craft experiences. So if you're unable to keep up or you're just, it's, just stop where you're at, and you can always pick it back up and follow along with the video once that's out.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. I know when I'm learning new things, I always end up watching videos over and over, playing, pausing, and it's fun to go at your own speed.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's important to remember, if you are painting for the first time this evening, or it's been a long time since you've painted, that it's okay. No one is an expert at anything the first time they do it. So this is meant to be enjoyable and fun, and no need to feel like you have any expectations. You don't need to make the next American masterpiece,
Totally.
I'm certainly not. And I'm having fun.
Yeah.
Well, they're looking great, and Laura knows how my abilities are with crafting, so and that it causes me great stress. But yeah, I appreciate the process.
That's the part where I'm like, oh, if it causes you stress, then maybe don't do it.
Recently learned I can no longer cut snowflakes, so I had assistance from our department to make that happen.
That is a frustrating task. I had that same experience when I was the preschool art teacher, actually.
Yeah. What happens with that skill? I was like, why can't I do this?
Well, I think part of it is because you remember doing it as a kid. So you're like, this has to be easy, right? Like, this is easy. And then when yours doesn't look how you thought, you're like, really? Can't even do a kid's craft? But it's harder than it looks.
Yeah, it's actually quite abstract, and it's right up there with origami or something. It's challenging. You can get really stylized, like snowflakes. I personally just like the simple chunks out of paper. My snowflakes are rectangular typically, and I'm okay with it. I don't know how people get the circular.
Well, look, every snowflake is different, people.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Just like our paintings. So I'm very, very content with mine, and I hope you guys are getting to that point too. This has been really nice to paint and blend. I love blending. Oh, I'm realizing now I kind of forgot this little corner. Getting into my white, and I'm just gonna cover that up. Oh, I'm out of the frame. Can you guys see me? There we go. Sorry about that. Just going to get this edge, and I think I got it all at that point.
While Kenzie's finishing up that edge, I think we are going to probably move on to doing our moons here shortly, but I would love to hear from you all. Where are you ready to move on to moons? Do you feel like you want a little teeny bit longer with your background? Where are you at?
Yeah, that's a great question. How's everybody doing? The moons will take a little bit of time.
So we've got it longer from Brendan. Brendan is saying longer.
Okay,
Brendan.
Thank you for updating us.
All right, well, we'll give you guys a little bit longer. And is it okay if I talk about the process a little bit?
Yeah, let's kind of talk through what we'll be doing with the moons.
Sure.
Kind of talk about what it's
And
going
we-
to look like.
And
We,
take your
yeah, we do
time.
have some that are ready. So I think, yeah, talking through what the next steps are, I think will be perfect.
Okay, so we have our gorgeous backgrounds here. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna get my example again. And so the next step is we're going to make our phases of the moon. So there's a couple ways of going about this. I would say get your small paintbrush ready. And what we're going to do is we're going to find the center. Oh, okay. Actually, first we're going to mix the paint. So I'm going to move my paint canvas aside. And I'm going to get my palette.
We do have a question of, should we wait for the background paint to dry before we add the moon paint?
No, it's okay if it's not completely dry. If you look at this painting, actually this one, and then an example that the purple one that Laura made, you can see that some of the blue actually is coming through, and I think that looks nice. I think it almost looks like the shadows and light coming from the moon. So I don't think that it's a problem at all. See Laura's example here, there's the purple mixed with the white and just a little bit of gray, and I think that looks really nice. So no, this whole painting can be done pretty wet on wet, and I think that the outcome looks really nice. If you do want to do a more concise gray, you can wait, but I would recommend just moving right along. So we're going to take our white, and my white is actually a little bit pink. I was holding nothing back. Was dipping right into it, but
And
it's
that's okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to take my small round brush, and I'm going to take out some white. La, la, la. I have my white, and I'm keeping a little bit there but you don't need much for your snowflakes. So don't worry if it's only like a tiny, tiny amount. And then I'm going to get my black paint. I'm going to scrape off all of my white paint. I'm going to scrub my brush in my water. My lid. Okay. And I'm going to towel it off. And then I'm going to take my little tiny brush, and I'm just going to dip the tiniest amount of black. So we're starting with our lighter color, and we're going to just dip like that much. Can everybody see that? It's not that much. And I'm going to mix it into the white, because you can always add more. You can always add more black. It's like a haircut. You always want to start with the smallest amount that you cut off, and then you can cut more off. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Like bangs. Yeah. You don't want to cut them all off in the beginning. Slowly work up to it.
Yeah. So I'm going to get a little bit more black, and I'm going to add it to the white. I'm liking that. My the colors are all very bright here. So I might actually, you guys can't, this looks a lot more lighter than it is, but for the camera, I'll just add a little bit more black so you guys can see.
And I'll start mixing one as well and kind of come back here.
There we go. That's a nice cool gray. All right, so I have my moon color. And okay, so we discovered something cool. So these shapes of the moon are all parts of a circle, right? So we have our full moon, and then we have our waning and waxing on either side all the way to our crescent. Half moon, 3/4 moon. They're all parts of a circle. So when we were actually preparing for this, we realized that these lids are perfect circles and they're kind of the perfect shape of the moon. So if you would like, so we have our moon shape there, see? If you like, we've kind of figured out a way that if you're feeling a little bit unsure about making these shapes, this is just one of a couple options. I will also show you how to make the shapes, but what we discovered is, and I'm gonna bring up another canvas to show you what I mean.
Yeah, we kind of discovered that you could use the lid almost like a stamp.
Yeah.
And stamp it onto your canvas. And so you have that circle shape right there, and you don't have to trust your hand to make the circle.
Totally. So yeah, as she said, as Laura said, we're going to take our paint and we can like kind of go around, paint on the lid, and you can stamp it by pushing down like that. See?
And she's using like the outside of the lid, like the top.
Yeah. And then what you can do is you can fill it in and you have your circle. And you can, for the different phases, you can do half, you know, or just crescent. So feel free to use this. I'm going to show you though, in order to start the phases, what you want to do is you want to find the center of your painting. So right in the middle, mine's right here, and you're going to make a dot. So whether you're using the lid, that's where you'll put the dot, or that's where you'll, I'm sorry. If you're using the lid, that's where you'll put your lid after you paint it, right over the dot like that. Doop. And then you can start. I'm going to just jump right in and I'll show you how maybe you can use your brush to make these shapes. I also, since the moon is organic, you know, and this painting is very, you can make it as organic or as, you know, geometric as you would like. I don't know if you noticed in the example painting, they're not perfect circles or shapes. So have fun with it. And that makes it look more interesting and, you know, it's unique. So I'm going to start here and I'm actually going to go out. And I love how my pink is coming through with the gray. It's a nice contrast. So I have my circle in the middle. Next is, you'll just move out, like move out on, so you have your center and then we'll make the next ones, which is the 3/4 moon, I believe. Let's check our reference. So this one. So I'll show you an example of using the lid that you might find helpful. So I'm going to we do like that. And stamp. And we have a little partial circle, which you can then really trace and fill it in. Then you can just rotate that lid. Use it on the other side. It's kind of a half moon, but I'm going to finish it by just adding a little bit more paint. There we go. I'm a humming person when I'm working. How about you guys? Do, who I feel like there's whistling and then there's humming, and then I just love seeing how people work. It's always so interesting. And then I always remember it's always memorable. There's individuals who stick out their tongue while they work too. It's always
Yeah.
really funny.
There
I think
are.
I'm all of them actually, except for I don't whistle very well. So I have my 3 here, and next is our half moons. So half moons, and I have mine facing out. I think that's how it goes. I'm going to just kind of create my half moon, making a C, a right side, and then on the other side, it's a backward C. And we finish it. That actually might be useful too for the crescent moon. So there we go. And these are not pencils, so don't worry if it's not super sharp, your corners of your semicircle or your half circle. So then we have, last but certainly not least, crescent moon.
Arguably the hardest.
Yep. So I'm gonna practice my crescent moon. And take this opportunity for you guys to really be able to see maybe how the different ways you can use your hand to create this shape.
And feel free, you all, to practice if you'd like on something, like a piece of paper. If you'd like to practice before you start on your painting, your moons, that's totally fine.
Yeah, I already have this practice canvas here, and you can have different crescents too. Like I see here, this one is kind of like a cradle, and then this one is more closed C shape. So I'm going to use like this, I'm going to use red because it sticks out of this white. So you can use your lid as Laura's doing, and you can kind of create this, paint this C, and use that as like a general tracer. So here we have our C. I see. And then we're going to paint it. And that's one crescent moon. And then you can also use just like one fell swoop. And then the crescent, I feel like, is always a little thicker on the, so you go again. And I kind of like it to look a little bit whimsical and add like the tail to it.
Yeah, I like that. I like the tail.
Thank you for tuning into CUI's TV. We hope you enjoyed the show. This video can be accessed anytime on youtube.com. In the YouTube search bar, type in UPTV6 and look for their microphone logo. We hope you will join us again next week for more local, engaging content designed specifically for Champaign County older adults. Take care and stay safe.